Okay, if you're tuning into this one, this is how we solve equations with a radical, a square root. And so anytime I have an equation, one of the first things that I would try to do is inverse operations and try to get that x by itself. So you might be thinking about adding 1 or dividing by 2, but those two things are protected by that radical for now. So one thing that I can get rid of that's kind of like not protected by it is that 5. So we're going to call this radical 2x minus 1. And then 7 minus 5 is 2. All right, now from there, now I can actually think of inverse operations and how I get rid of that radical. Well, I get rid of that radical. What's the opposite of taking the radical of something? The opposite of square rooting it is squaring it. So remember that if I square both sides, that's going to get rid of that radical. So great, I've kind of isolated the radical. And then I've gotten rid of that radical by canceling using inverse operations. And now I can solve these like normal. Add 1 and divide by 2. I'm going to fast forward here and you're going to get 5 over 2. All right, fractions are fine here. And it's really, what do we do with these solutions when we're done? So many people get done, they move on, they see their answer, they circle it, great, but they don't check it. These, just like logs, could have extraneous solutions. Remember this radical right here. This sometimes gives us extraneous solutions. How do I know if something's extraneous? I have to check it. So I'm going to do 2 times, instead of x, I'm going to do 2 times 5 over 2 minus 1. That whole thing needs to be square rooted. Then plus 5 equals 7. So here's my check for extraneous solutions. All right, now let's just do this real quick. This is going to give us 10 over 2 minus 1. That's inside. The 5 is not, equals 7. We want to get 7 over here. I'm going to do some math in my head. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. That gives me 2. Is 2 plus 5 equal to 7? Of course it is. And so sorry about that little scribble there. And so what does that tell me? It tells me through my check that this is correct. That won't always be the case though. Sometimes we'll have extraneous solutions. We'll plug this in and we'll get something like 6 equals 7. Well, obviously that's not true. So that would tell me extraneous. But in this case, it good.